It's the $1 Million Organizer Show. Tips for professional union organizers. Win more campaigns, balance work and family, and leave the competition in the dust. Now here's your host, Bob Odie.
Hello, union organizers and future union organizers. Today I want to talk a little bit about how I got started in the union and why I'm organizing, why I have this show. I started in 1988, got into the apprenticeship program as an electrician, and I went through a 4-year union apprenticeship. I mean, it just turned out to be one of the best things that ever happened to me. I had gone from job to job with not much direction. I had some success in the studios. I was a stage manager, did some lighting. I did work non-union as an electrician before getting into the apprenticeship program. But getting into the apprenticeship program really opened a lot of doors for me. I got some training. I was earning while I learned, and I got a raise every 6 months. My books were paid for, and I was taken under the wing by many great journeymen that were willing to train me and show me the ropes, if you will, and give me some fantastic advice. I remember when I first started the apprenticeship program, I had a journeyman named Bill. He pulled me aside. He said, "Listen, kid, if you end up missing any school," at that time you had to go back and make up 2 nights instead of 1 night. So he said, "Do yourself a favor. Don't miss any classes. Go every single time, no matter what happened. Show up." And he told me, if you do that for 4 years, you will get a perfect attendance award. And he said that should be one of my goals. And so I did that. At the end of the 4 years, I got that perfect attendance award at my graduation. It was quite an accomplishment. And I think he was right. If I had missed some school and I had to make up 2 nights for 1 night, I might not have completed the program. It's funny, my mother, she told me she didn't think I would graduate. I had gotten into the union through an ex-girlfriend's father who put in a good word for me and got me into the apprenticeship program. He's the one that convinced me to sign up. I didn't pass the test the first time. I went back a second time, and he's the one that encouraged me to go back and take it again. After the apprenticeship, or actually during the apprenticeship, I became an active union member. I didn't go to every union meeting, but I was in school 2 nights a week. But I did work with some very active members, and they were my journeymen and peers at work. I remember after my apprenticeship program, one of the guys that I worked with, he pulled me aside. He said, "Hey, listen, they're going to have a health and welfare committee, and we need somebody to show up because if they don't get enough people, there's not going to be a quorum." And I said, "Well, how many people got to show up?" They said, "Well, there has to be 4. And he said, there's a meeting Tuesday night. I'd like you to be there, and they're going to have pizza there." And believe it or not, just the fact that he mentioned it and suggested that there was going to be pizza there, I showed up. I found out that, hey, they were paying sick members' dues with money that they made from T-shirts and some other charitable stuff that they were doing. That seemed like a worthy cause. After that meeting had concluded, they needed somebody to attend the next meeting. At that time, it was executive committee. They don't have that anymore at my home local, but they used to have an executive committee, and they asked me to stick around for that one. So I did that. After that, I volunteered a number of campaigns, political constituents that they were supporting, and they asked me to show up to some of those, and I did. Eventually, they picked me up, put me to work doing it. I guess I left a good response to them. And then I read a couple of articles about union organizing, which I was already doing. I was already out there recruiting people, friends and family and things like that, just telling them how great the union was and how it had changed my life. I was very excited to tell other people about it. There was an article in our union journal about a college at the time, National Labor College, George Meany Center. And so I looked at it and found out that, you could finish your college degree. And so I decided to sign up for that, even though it was clear across the country. I'm in California, and the school was in Maryland. I signed up for it and went there and surrounded myself with other union organizers and other labor people. And I found the experience to be fascinating. And I found the subject of union organizing to be fascinating. I just couldn't get enough of it. Between the classes, the books, the instructors, my fellow students, I just really got a passion for it. And I couldn't wait to go out and spread the word and do more recruiting on behalf of the union. And I was given the opportunity shortly after that. Now, since then, I've seen a lot of changes in organizing. I've seen how technology has helped us in organizing in many ways, and the lack of technology has really impeded union organizing. No doubt about it. In 2008, I wrote a book called Bigger Labor, A Crash Course for Construction Union Organizers. That's exactly what it was. It was just a crash course for someone to kind of get their feet wet in union organizing, because I noticed that a lot of people were leaving the positions, new people were coming on board, and they weren't really being trained to be organizers. I had gone to college, studied labor studies, but some of these people are just maybe active members, but they have almost no understanding of what union organizing entailed. So I wrote the book, and it helped out a lot of people, and I've gotten a fantastic response from it. Since then, I've written another book, and I've been working on this book for years. I finally put it out, and that is The $1 Million Organizer. 365 tips for professional union organizing. In that book, I thought about all of these different actions that we take on a daily basis. I really experimented with different things. I've made some mistakes along the way, no doubt about it, but I've also had some fantastic wins. And so I took that information that I had and I put it into the book, and I'm hoping to affect change. I see that there's a great turnover of union organizers. I mean, almost on a monthly basis. It's ridiculous. People leaving their position of organizers to go back to work with the tools or to move on to other positions. I've seen some better organizers than myself leave union organizing to just go back and run pipe. Makes no sense to me at all. How could how could any organization lose their best people without sort of a plan or an example for future people? It's just difficult for me to understand. I mean, if you were a Ford Motor Company, could you afford to lose your top salespeople? What would that do for your company? I've heard unions talked about or local unions talked about as sort of franchises. And if you were McDonald's and you had one franchise that was knocking it out of the park every freaking day, are you going to let that one go? I don't think so. Hopefully you're going to send everybody to that one place, or at least have those people go around and tell everybody else what they're doing right. But I don't see that happening that often in the labor movement. Like I said, I've seen a lot of good, honest people with fantastic integrity, knowledge of union organizing, how to do it, how to recruit, how to bring in more employers, how to bring in more members, and how to energize those people. We need more of that today. And so that's why I wrote these books, and that's why I've got this show coming to you from Winnetka, California, my hometown. We're going to cover this subject of union organizing, and I'm going to give some tips. And some of them are going to just, right from the start, we've got to understand, why do we organize? We organize to increase wages for union members. We bring in more members, and the more members that we have, the more power our union has. There is strength in numbers. You don't want to go in to walk in to talk to the boss just by yourself. You want to have some people backing you up, and there's strength in numbers. We want to increase retirement and health benefits for our members and all workers. We really do. I believe by organizing more members into the union, I believe unions help all workers across the board with minimum wage standards, just all kinds of safety issues, everything. But we want to increase retirement and health benefits. And the more members we have, the lower the cost and the more we can offer our members. Again, there's power in numbers. We want to improve working conditions for all workers, especially our members. Unions give a voice in the workplace. There's just no doubt about it. And we want more employment opportunities. And so we, in the construction industry, we're constantly encouraging union companies to bid more work. Otherwise, the work goes non-union. And fighting corporate greed is another issue that's so important. Some of these corporations have just gotten out of hand. You know the ones I'm talking about. I don't even need to mention the names. You know, huge corporations, family-owned. They seem to just run roughshod over society. And we've got to fight against that. We got to push back. And we are. So that's why we organize. We got to lift up the downtrodden. And I can tell you, I've taken some people that were making $12 an hour, and I've brought them into the union. In a short period of time, they're making $48 an hour, and it's just amazing how that can change a person's life and their family's lives. It's huge, the impact. And it's like a ripple going out across the lake. So I encourage you to keep organizing. Keep hitting it hard. Take 3 good cuts at the ball every day. And tune into the show because we're going to be covering some fantastic, very interesting topics. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. We hope that you'll subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Give us a 5-star review and let us know what you'd like to hear the $1 Million Organizer talk about. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram @Union Organizer. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.